So, the British honour system is one of those, on the face of it, quite beautiful, mythic aspects of British society. You know, when you think of, kneeling, the sword on both shoulders, and you arise a knight of the realm.
Yeah, so,
right? Speaks to a truly mythical, spiritual past.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? There's something really to that. There's a lot of thick concepts to it. And it all falls into that thing that is part of the deep magic of England. And it's also something that other countries in Europe don't get to experience, right? They don't enjoy it. The French, Happy Bastille Day, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
France. You don't get to do that because you had a Bastille Day, right? There are no knights in France anymore. Knight of the Republic. Although that was a good Star Wars game, actually. Knights of the Old Republic. But anyway, so now you end up with things like this. Arise Sadiq Khan, London's mayor. Now, obviously, this is a fairly recent story, but it's not exactly new news. You've probably all seen this before. But I wanted to use it as an example of the secularization of what is essentially a spiritual practice.
Yes.
Right? Because it shouldn't actually be theoretically possible for a Muslim to be a knight.
Right.
Because it is innately a Christian concept.
Yes, very true.
Right, that ties into European Christian themes of chivalry. And yet he was simply made a knight of the realm because there isn't actually any criteria that you actually have to fit now, other than the authority of the British state, the secular British state that is entirely obviously enveloped in multiculturalism and the multicultural project. And so you see this more and more now, that it constantly just awards minorities for simply kind of existing.
It's almost become a kind of pantomime now, right? It's a bit like, it reminds me of like the Commonwealth and lots of other things that we had as tradition, but now it's become like, why are we putting one foot in, one foot out when it's the pass of the empire, right? So that's how I view it now, as a bit of a pantomime, and that's sad, really, because, like you said, it has such spiritual and big meaning to it from days past, but not anymore. Not anymore.
No. And when Sadiq Khan said about this, he said, obviously, from my background, being the son of immigrants, my parents coming here from Pakistan, it's a big deal to us, right? So that's what he said in reaction to this. And you can see what that means. It's, in some way, him becoming a knight, he sees that as like being accepted by the system.
Right.
Right,
Yeah.
He's being accepted by the establishment. Obviously, you and I know better and know that he is the establishment.
Yeah, exactly.
There is nothing counter in the politics of Sadiq Khan.
And that is the symbolism of what this is now in the modern time.
Yes, it is. So then you obviously have things like this, because it's not just knights. We also have I say smaller, not in an insulting way, but member of British Empire and Order of the Garter, all these different honours, and you have one here for an MBE for Mubin Hussain, who led a Muslim community boycott of South Yorkshire Police after the Rotherham grooming abuse scandal, and has been awarded an MBE for services to integration and cohesion.
It's just a joke. It's like they made, was it Rotherham, the place for children and culture, was it?
Oh, City of Culture.
City of Culture. Yeah.
That was last year or the one before.
Yeah,
it's just an extra insult.
Yeah.
An extra insult. He called on Muslims to sever ties with South Yorkshire Police and take all the necessary action to protect ourselves back in 2015, obviously meaning the Muslim community, to shield them from the backlash.
Right.
Of what those from within their community had obviously been doing to these young girls. And his group warned that any Muslim groups or institutions in Rotherham that do not adhere to this policy of disengagement will also be boycotted by the Muslim community itself.
Wow.
Right? So, but like, total ethnic, you are with us or you're against us.
Yeah, so bad.
You're with us or you're a traitor to your people. Rhetoric. And as you can see, so he's going to be getting an MBE He's going to be getting an MBE.
Great start to the Monday morning, eh?
Yeah, sorry about all that. Well, like I say, this is why it's the first segment.
Yeah,
so we can
yeah,
just
yeah.
Rip this band-aid off, and then we'll get to something a lot more fun.
Yeah.
But obviously, it's not just politicians and community leaders as well. There is, a massive propaganda arm in terms of cultural power, films, music, all these sorts of things as well. Took up our editor Samson's tweet here from a while back. You might remember this film turning up on Apple TV, Blitz, and you may notice something slightly historically inaccurate about the cover to this. But obviously, this film was directed by Steve McQueen, British film director, Sir Steve McQueen. In fact, even though he was also the director of such things as 12 Years a Slave.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And so from reading what he talks about, the films that he engages with, and the fact that, when you look at that one like The Blitz, it was more, well, obviously, I just wanted more representation for my people, right? It's about inserting them. We've always been an island of immigrants. We've always been here. And obviously, those sorts of politics, again, are rewarded with knighthoods, even though he's an enormous race baiter.
Well, like we were talking about, it's now that honours system as a whole has turned into a welcome to the establishment, as opposed to this is what it used to represent, and hit the nail on the head there. So
also, obviously, let's not forget the great contributions to music that such men like Stormzy. Are you a Stormzy fan, Lewis?
No, I'm not. No, personally not. I do like, I must admit, I do like some grime. Weirdly, I know, very strangely, I do like some of it because it reminds me of the old punk sort of stuff. Some of it I don't mind, but I'm not a Stormzy fan, no. And I think he did say something recently that caused a bit of a commotion online, and I think Rafe, is it Manku, called him out to a debate on the British Empire and all of that. That's yet to happen, but I would love to see that. That would be really good fun.
Well, as an honorary doctorate of Cambridge, I'm sure that Stormzy will have all the necessary knowledge, historical facts.
I'd love to see it.
And know how to single-handedly dash Rafe in that debate.
Yes.
No doubt about it. But, so what was it to do with Stormzy? Why is he so worthy of receiving this honorary doctorate? Well, at Cambridge, he also set up the Stormzy Scholarship, which is entirely designed for basically getting more black applicants into Cambridge. So again, just even when they say it's about, well, it is all about, again, rewarding people for working towards a multicultural project, right? Just getting more of the different races who are now in Britain into the institutions, into positions of power, where they can, of course, then snowball and avalanche 20 years down the line and be in the institutions that are really going to be deciding the direction of this country.
So throwing out meritocracy with something completely different.
Well, and also just throwing it out in terms of a politics that we're simply not allowed to do. Because Stormzy just looks at, the young black kids and he goes, I'm responsible for them. Right? He's not responsible for the white working class kids. Feels no, even though they're, not exactly likely to end up going to Cambridge either.
Yes.
Right?
Stats, yeah.
But that doesn't matter, right? It's not about that. It's about racial loyalty.
Yeah.
Right? It's about racial loyalty.
Sad.
With these sorts of people. And so then let's begin to talk a little bit about the House of Lords. Now, you said to me that you...
letting it slip.
you might have some aspirations to become Lord Brackpool.
It's a very new thing. I've been thinking recently, because some people have asked, would you get into politics? And I've said yes. I've had conversations with friends who have also said that they would. Time is running out with that sort of thing. I don't know if I'd be a good MP. However, I have liked the idea of getting into the House of Lords, even though that I want it abolished. So it's quite an interesting.
Well, Guy Fawkes wanted to get into the House of Parliament, didn't he?
True.
Even I mean, what?
Well, the thing is, I don't know. There's something about it. I think as much as I do want it abolished, I think with lots of legislation that is being passed through now, the assisted dying, the recent abortion bill as well that's been expanded. Lots of different things, all to do with civil liberties, freedom of speech, all of that. I do see how important this is right now in this, but we want to get to a point where we don't need it. We don't want another Tony Blair institution. We want to start rolling back. And I feel I would like to, in my later years, do something like this. I don't know how it's possible because I'm not very well liked by these guys. So, it would be quite a fun little
It's probably
arc.
because you pester them like Andy Dufresne in Shawshank Redemption, just sending them a Freedom of Information request every week.
That's it. And I don't think they're very fond of that. But yeah, imagine like I'm just thinking of it through FOIs. Like imagine being in there and being able to, get some more important information out to the public. That's how I see it. And yeah. That's how I see it.
What you say about the House of Lords being a Blairite creation. Of course, the House of Lords is much older than that, but you're absolutely right in the sense that the House of Lords is just another institution that Blair just grabbed and changed to his own image for his own purposes. Because as you can see here, back in the 1999, so when I was 2, there was a bill put through, the House of Lords bill, which was basically used to remove a lot of the hereditary peers, like the landed gentry of England, to be replaced with more and more, Blairite disciples and Cameron
globalists.
Yeah, and Cameron went on to do this too. Of course, Cameron put in people like Baroness Wolsey.
Right.
Who now sits in the House of Lords, friend of the English, always been our ally, never done anything to try and subvert us ever.
Right.
But it's part of that thing that so we're replacing the landed gentry of England, the old hereditary class, with people from the new multicultural, the new UK, modern Britain,
UK aesthetics,
the UK lords, lords of the UK. So but also I think it comes down to another point about the House of Lords as well, is that actually, on the face of it, I don't disagree with the idea of having a second chamber that is of the hereditary peers, right? Because the argument was, well, it's not democratic, right? You get this argument a lot where it's like, well, isn't it good? Because when you've got all of the MPs who are constantly thinking about just saying whatever they need to say to get re-elected the next time. Once you remove that anxiety away, you can have, in theory, a chamber that can dedicate itself more to some long-term planning, because it's not constantly thinking about the next election cycle or what donors do I need to compromise myself with in order to gain that influence. So I do think there is some merit to that. But of course, I also won't pretend that, historically speaking, the House of Lords has always not been open to corruption and abuse. I can't help but think about back when I was doing an epoch with Beau, all about Pitt the Younger, back when he was Prime Minister. And one of the plans that he and King George had in order to cement Pitt's power in Parliament was just to absolutely open the peerages, right? To just put all of their friends in the House of Lords to get them through that way, so that he could pass everything through the second chamber very, very easily. So again, I'm not going to pretend it's a perfect system, but it was still better. But it was still better than before Blair.
I agree.
Right, it was still better than before Blair.
I do agree.
Then you have other lords.
Ah, yes.
Like Lord Hermer.
Who's been making the news recently.
Yes. Now, he actually only received his peerage last month.
Oh, was it only last month?
Yeah, from what I can tell, it was last July. But obviously, he was in the headlines recently for, well, as we can see here, saying that it's disgusting to say that the UK has a two-tier justice system.
If he's saying that, then great.
Well, exactly.
I mean, Robert Jenrick was doing fantastic work recently when he was talking about, the kind of people he was representing, and there seems to be some weird. Because I'm pretty sure, isn't it usually assigned? So you don't really get to choose? Is that how it usually works? I know we're going into a completely different subject, but with the justice system, aren't you like given? You're not supposed to pick, or is that?
I don't want to speak with authority on that because I couldn't.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But if someone in the comments knows, do please let us know. But yeah, he said such as, I think it's offensive to our police. It's offensive to our crown prosecutors who are trying to apply the law in the best faith. It's offensive to the courts, where the independent judges are applying the law to reach the right sentences. We don't have a two-tier justice system. We have a one-justice system that is an independent justice system. And I think we all need to get behind it, not seek to undermine it.
Oh, yeah, let's just all get behind it. Jailing people for mean tweets. Brilliant.
It's an independent justice system that just happens to always come down on the side of people of particular backgrounds and particular, again, human rights, whoever the human rights lawyers most favour.
It's tiresome. And like I said, I think going back to the Jenrick shilling, sound like I'm Jenrick shilling now. I think he's been doing fantastic work on trying to talk about this sort of subject as well. And there's lots of others that have been doing exactly the same, but I've been very impressed recently. And, getting this guy in the headlines, I think it can only be a good thing.
Well, indeed. I mean, but also it's that thing that it's like, well, who are some of the people that he's associated with? Yeah. Well, he did stand up in court on behalf of Liberty, the human rights activists, and basically tried to defend Shamima Begum's right to stay in the UK. Yeah. Of course.
Gerry Adams as well.
Gerry Adams, another famous fan of Britain that he helped to defend. Well, not defend, but who he has associations with. And then you get those enemies of Britain, right? You get people like Worsey and Hermer, who just obviously seem to keep. There's a pattern of them making decisions that constantly make Britain a more dangerous place, and they're then rewarded for it with peerages. But then you also get absolutely mind-boggling ones like this. You might remember from a few years ago, the Charlotte Owen becoming a baroness. She was 30 at the time, making her the youngest in the country. And it was really, really vague as to why she got it. She was one of the ones that Boris Johnson gave a peerage to on his way out. Right. Presumably for being a very, very talented aide.
Right.
Instrumental in just organising his day-to-day affairs.
Never heard of her.
No. Right. And I don't know. Is being helpful to Boris?
Yeah, worthy of
a life peerage.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure. Usually, you're given a peerage. Correct me if I'm wrong. You're given a peerage if you've made a substantial contribution to society.
Which is why they're generally reserved for people who are older. Which is why the average age of a peer in the House of Lords is 71.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You're supposed to have done something with your life.
Yeah. Exactly.
So
that's bizarre.
But there's a lot of them like these. And let's not forget as well that Jacob Rees-Mogg, Priti Patel, honoured in Boris Johnson's resignation lists as well. So Priti Patel, you can reside over the Boris wave and become a dame. Mm-hmm. Right? It's like there's no... At what point does it's like, well, you occupied this position, right? Because this is another thing. It's kind of just become a theme these days. A reoccurring, almost like incestuous little institutional tradition of itself, that just by being Prime Minister, you are entitled to a knighthood. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter if you were one of the worst prime ministers this country's ever seen. Doesn't matter if you were Tony Blair, Boris Johnson. You know, they're just able to keep pumping out all of these knighthoods. And, well, I mean, I was going to skip ahead a bit. No, it's fine. I'll leave it. You know, people like Jeremy Hunt as well. So people who said, why aren't we just one for one copying the Chinese lockdown system?
I was about to say that. Yeah, I was about to say that. Took the words right out of my mouth.
Oh, well, sorry.
No, it's good. That's a very important quote to bring up, especially with Hunt. And, you know, you hear stuff like that during the height of absolutely everything. And, I mean, we don't even need to go into too much detail about, you know, China and its civil liberty problems. It just does my head in.
Again,
does my head in.
Knight of the realm.
Yeah.
While seemingly having a fetish for an ancient realm over in the Far East. Right? Just doesn't work. Just doesn't work, Jeremy. Give it back.
No. Yeah. Yeah, Gove.
Gove gets a peerage. Do you feel better? Do you trust the institutions more, Lewis, knowing that Lord Gove is in...
No. I think I'm apparently I think I'm correct in saying that there is a particular debate. I'm not sure if it's public knowledge yet, so I don't know whether I can go into detail.
All right.
But there is a debate that is going to be happening soon. I believe Gove is moderating between a friend of ours and another person within conservative space. And I'm very interested to see how that's going to go. I don't know if it's public knowledge yet, so I don't want to say it.
Yeah, all right.
Give it away.
Yeah, sure.
Be interesting.
It will be. But, yeah, let's not forget as well that this is, you know, according to the folklore of modern England, this is a man that when... Jonathan Bowden approached him and said, what are we going to do about mass immigration? Gove simply said, it wouldn't be British to do anything about it. Just let it continue. This was back in the 90s.
Wow, okay.
Right?
Didn't
Apparently.
know that.
So, again, Gove is just someone who has been a creature. He's just the creature of the establishment, right? And has been certainly the creature of the Tory party.
Didn't Nadine Dorris write extensively in her book about Gove?
Right.
I haven't read it.
So many of the problems begin with Gove. Yeah, well, not that. Begin, but are always exacerbated by Gove.
It's interesting. I must read that.
And obviously, most infamously of all, in recent memory, we of course have the knighthood of Sir Tony Blair. The Dark Lord himself.
Wow, 1 million.
Right. And even though there was a petition that passed 1 million signatures...
Crazy.
It wasn't enough to rescind it. Because your consent does not matter.
Doesn't matter.
Does not matter whatsoever. Right? And so it's one of those things where... one of the gravest insults about all of this as well, of course, is that there are... some people, genuine entrepreneurs, general pillars of the community, people who have really done something of pure interest, who have, you know, contributed to the greatness of Britain, who have also received knighthoods, of course, in our lifetime. And it's really irritating because they're now mangled, or, you know, that is mingled amongst people who are totally unworthy of it.
It's more of an establishment club now, which is such a shame. It's such a shame. And it's, you know, like we've spoken about during this whole segment, the spirit of it, you know, it's part of our lineage, heritage. Whether you agree, I don't. I'm not a royalist. I'm not any of that. I'm not interested.
Sir Oliver Cromwell.
I'm not interested in any of that. But to see our institutions, our lineage, heritage, everything, just be moulded into this blob, this globalist blob, where it's become more of a club as opposed to, you know, English tradition. It just makes me, it just upsets me a bit. Well, but this is the way that we're going, and we're kind of powerless. All we can do is really talk about it.
All we can do is sign 1 million
petitions,
petitions to get ignored.
Thrown out.
But that's the thing, isn't it? You go through all these things. You can be responsible for mass immigration. Yeah. You can the Iraq War. You can actively tell your fellow ethno-religious comrades not to engage with the police, and you can be rewarded for it. You can advocate for the most totalitarian lockdowns, and you can be rewarded for it.
Push for digital identification and a social credit system on the entire populace. Still, even after quitting politics, all to rub the right's noses, right?
But, you know, I like to believe that which has been given can be taken away, and perhaps in the future it just might be.
Get me into the House of Lords. I'll start repealing and doing my bit, helping.
If you would like to watch the full uncut version that is also uncensored, head on over to lotuseaters.com to find out more.